Hey, everybody, welcome back to another edition of Small Business Chronicles. I've been wanting to do this episode for a hot minute. I had to track down the right person to do it with, and that person is Mr. Jonathan Logan with Greenlit Solutions. We're going to be talking about AI, all sorts of AI, Chat GPT, how to utilize AI in your business. Now, look, I get it. Everything is AI. You are probably tired of hearing Chat GPT, OpenAI, whatever. But the values of this show is to bring you honest, in-depth information, ups, downs, good and bads. Nobody here is paid by ChatGPT or any sort of AI. We just want to talk about it and tell you how you can leverage it in your business the right way. And be honest about that. So, thank you so much for joining me, Jonathan. It's a pleasure to have you here. First thing I want to ask you is why should we trust you? Why are you an expert, and why should we trust what you say today?
Well, hey Ryan, thanks for having me on. It's great to see you again. Why you should trust me? Well, my general rule is never trust anyone on the internet, so I'm not going to say you have to trust me. But I've done my research. I've been passionately following AI for probably about 2 years now, and when I'm not working with AI, I'm looking into AI. So take that for what you will, but when you talk to me, you're going to get way too many hours for someone of my age to have looked into AI back behind
One of
what
the
I'm
funny
saying.
things, and I want to start off by bashing AI a little. No, let me take that back. And I love your intro that you're like, "Hey, I'm on the internet. You shouldn't trust me. Listen to what I say." Everybody, one of the things that you see is I'm a prompt engineer. I'm an expert in AI. That stuff's only been around for publicly for a few months. In the background,
Hmm.
the user facing and customer base using for about a year. No one's an expert. We're all figuring this out as we go.
Yep.
Some people have figured it out better, and maybe some people are figured out how to use it for coding and they're expert in using it for coding. Where some copywriters are an expert using it for copy and other things that you do. So you have to understand that a Chat GPT expert would be the people that work at the company, and that's where that line ends. Where none of us are experts.
Yep.
We're all given our overinflated opinion because we got a microphone, we feel important, and this is how we're going to present AI. So take everything that you hear with a grain of salt and go test and try and try these things out. That would be my opening salvo for anything that you hear for Chat GPT.
Yep. I would second that for sure. For sure. I mean, whenever I saw there was Netflix, I believe it was, put a job posting up a couple months back where they're looking for an AI specialist, an AI integration specialist, and the salary was $900,000 a year. And I was like, oh my goodness, like how? How? You don't have an AI integration specialist unless you've been working with developing AI. But even then, you're probably more
Yeah.
technical. There's no integration specialist. That's not a thing. So they're going to end up with someone with a master's degree, probably in technology, who played around with ChatGPT for a couple months and now they're an expert. Like that's probably what they're going to end up getting their their inboxes flooded with.
Now, on the other side of that, to break down AI a little bit, we've been using AI for years by definition. It just means artificial intelligence, right? So programming your VCR or knowing when to skip commercials or knowing when to whatever is an AI. It's artificial intelligence. It's a program that has some capability of thinking on its own. So AI has been around for 20 years. AI in the way that we know it now, not so much.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, AI is just advanced
Yes.
machine learning when you think about it. And machine learning has been around for a long time. So when people say, "Oh, there's this emerging technology AI," I'm like, it's not emerging. It's almost just rebranded with a little more capabilities. Like when you break it down, that's kind of what it comes down to.
Yeah, yeah, and AI in a fashion on a customer front face can use. So we pay $20 for Chat GPT. I think I pay $10 for Mid Journey. I think Bard at this point is free. So with AI being a customer facing tool and not built into other programs, other machines, or a secondary function of something, I think is what the new AI technically is.
Yeah, and that I would get behind that statement that that is new. But I mean, everyone's throwing AI into everything right now. Like if you look at HubSpot CRM, they have their new AI that they're pushing. If you look at Canva, they have multiple AI integrated tools. Like it's ridiculous. AI is now everywhere, but it's really all just the same thing rebranded under
And
something
it's
else.
usually on Chat GPT. It's Google. You got the big players. Meta is developing their own AI. Chat GPT, OpenAI, they've developed their own. Google, Alphabet is developing their own. So you're a bit, and I think Elon Musk says he's developing one. So then all of
I think it's Truth
yeah,
AI is what
yeah,
he's calling
and
his.
that ought to be
Yeah.
fun. So
Yeah.
so but no, so you have to look at it that way. Of when you like Adobe, I use the Adobe products. Yes, my corporate soul has been sold because I love being able to move one file to next thing to next thing to next thing and not have to learn a different program every 6 months. But Adobe has new
Yeah.
AI features coming out. They have AI editing now in Premiere Pro. They have you
Mm.
in Photoshop. You can just circle something and go, "Hey, put a cat in there," and it does a decent job of just putting a cat in a photo picture in a photo.
Yeah.
Adobe Illustrator now has generative color fill, which uses AI. You say, "I want it to match this brand or the 1960s," and it'll give you 5 different versions of how to color it from the 60s, and so forth and so forth. And you see all these, and it's all one of the companies. They're either using Google, Meta, OpenAI. It's all the same AI that we're using front facing to do the
Yep.
same thing.
Yep. And I think it's important to for small business owners and individuals who are interested, you need to learn how to use those platforms, right? If there's like 4 or 5 main AI platforms, you need to learn how to use those tools. Like you mentioned Midjourney earlier. Midjourney is kind of like the gold standard for image generation, AI image generation, in my opinion. Like if you want to be a graphic designer in 2023 and going on, you need to learn how to use Midjourney. If you want to use AI to help with content creation or research, you need to learn how to use ChatGPT. So people need to. I'm not going to say stop bashing on AI because I think there's going to be plenty of
Yeah.
reasons to do that for a long time. But you can bash it, but you need to learn how to
I
use it.
mean, one of the things that I love about AI being a graphic designer, that's was my entry to marketing, being a graphic designer and video editor and stuff like that. At the basic level, you can automate tasks that take forever. This podcast, if I was to go edit out every silence, if I was to go edit out every little misstep, or I have to go back and in to do new noise removal and stuff, there's AI programs you can hit 2 buttons and it's done in 30 seconds, which was 2 hours of my life.
Right.
On the graphic designer side, I've struggled making logos before. Now, if I struggle,
Mm.
I go to Midjourney and type in a prompt. Now, you cannot copyright AI material. That has been a standard and that has been set. You cannot copyright AI materials. So, what it will do though is my brainstorming phase of designing logos has now become going to Midjourney and screwing around in Midjourney until I get what I'm looking for, taking that into Adobe Illustrator, breaking it down and rebranding it. And not just using it, but I mean
Yep.
taking that as a template and then rebuilding it based off of that.
Yes, and I think Midjourney and ChatGPT are both excellent tools to help with
Mhm.
writer's block with any sort of creative juices. If you need to get that process going, like I grew up in a very not creative household. Like I could barely draw stick figures. And that was about the artistic
Yeah,
talent in my family. Like none of us are artistic at all. But using these AI tools, it kind of gives you that jump start into that creative process so that you can kind of pick up where the AI drops something and run it to completion to where you think it should be.
for sure. That's sorry, I got distracted. My headphones quit and I had to move it. But no,
Oh, you're good.
no, I agree with you that I think a lot of the shit that AI is taking from the creator side is people that aren't adopting it. A good content writer
Mhm.
is not going to be replaced by AI. A content writer is
Yes.
going to be replaced by another content writer that uses AI as an assistant, an AI as cleanup, an AI as that sort of thing. That's what it's going to replace as. A graphic designer that's not utilizing AI tools is going to be replaced by a graphic designer that is. A programmer
Yep.
You see the pattern here, and that's why I
Yes.
feel it's so absolutely important for people to embrace and understand AI.
Yes, I am 100% with you on that. My company, Greenlit Solutions, it is our policy that everyone, because how we work it is we have different specialists that have their niche within marketing and we'll connect them with the
Yes.
client, right? And so part of our policy is like, hey, if you're going to work with us, you have to use AI.
Yeah.
There's no negotiating that because you will fall behind. You will not be the best you can be in what you produce for your clients unless you use artificial intelligence in today's age.
Oh, 1,000%. And then when we take it a step farther, there's a program, if you're not familiar with it out there, called Zapier. And there's Zapier, there's Make,
Yes, I know
there's
what that is.
there's all of the other ones. And for the listeners out there that don't know what it is, so a lot of programs like Go High Level, Pipedrive, Salesforce, all of these have built-in automations. So you can automate a workflow. You can create a task, and that automatically in the background creates other services. But those automations are just in-house. They cannot go outside of that original program. What Zapier does is, let's say that you have a CRM. Let's use Go High Level. It's pretty popular right now. And then you have a task management system like HubSpot or Pipedrive. You can use Zapier to integrate those two things back and forth. So you can take things out of the original place, zip them through the internet, have them processed, have information delivered. Now, why I say that is I have found out, and this is something that works with API keys, is that you can take your prompts and preload them, and if you have something you need to write with ChatGPT, you can zap it out of there into ChatGPT, get it to write it, and zap it back in.
Wow, I didn't know
Yes.
that.
So
That's
yeah,
pretty cool.
so and a lot of these things are coming up, and we're talking about integrations with AI. Kind of like we use a CRM system in the back end for this podcast because as we were talking before, I do 2 shows. Cash does a show. We have 3 more people coming on to do shows, so it's hard to keep track of guests and times and stuff like that. So we can literally put in information, show notes after we get done with the show, information, show notes, what the links are, blah, blah, blah. Hit a button, it zips over to Chat GPT, writes show description, put the links in, does all that, and then zaps it back to our CRM to where then when we go to post, we just copy and paste that over.
Fantastic.
So that
That's so
it is.
efficient.
It's efficient. So who I wish I could see a show of hands. Who thinks that degrades the description because somebody didn't take 20 minutes out of their day to figure out how to use the words effect and affect and figure out how which one of those to do, or had to go I before E except after this, or have to go get a whole copywriter to write your stuff so you don't look like an idiot on the internet. So you
Right.
can see why it's so efficient.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I one of my clients is a cybersecurity firm, and uh, they want me to do a lot of news surfing for them. And that's a great way in the tech world to kind of stay top of mind, keep your domain authority up, become a trusted voice in that space. So what I do, is part some of the time, not all the time, but what I do is I'll take 5, 6 different articles about a specific topic. I'll put them on the ChatGPT. I'll have it write an article summarizing all these other articles, and I go through and I edit it and I make sure everything's
Yes.
accurate because sometimes ChatGPT has hallucinations. But that still, cuts my writing time and editing time in half because I don't have to. Okay, now I got to pull in this piece and I got to pull in this piece and I got to pull in this piece. It's just so much more efficient, and you still come out with a great you know uh, SEO friendly blog post or a great news article. It's if you're not using it at this point, it's either pride because I can do it better, or it's ignorance because you don't understand how it can help you.
It absolutely, I think it's both. I think that as a creative
Mhm.
person, it hurt my feelings for a minute that I would spend half my day trying to get a 5 logo set out that now I can do in 15 minutes, so I felt replaceable. Then you get on the internet and
Yeah.
find all these jerk offs that are using it and not having human supervision with it. And then I have to read all of your
Right.
things that no, warm regards is not something human beings say. I'm elated to see that you have answered my
Right.
email is not how human beings talk. So as we transfer into the bad part of AI, if it's without human supervision, you've become the new noise.
Yes, and that was something I said on Cash Show actually was, you know, AI is scary in the sense that it taps into the human proclivity towards laziness. I think humans are probably one of the laziest creatures on the planet because if they don't have to work, they won't, and if they have to work, they'll work so that they don't have to.
Yes,
And I think AI just taps into that, and so many people, I think I've seen it a lot in the marketing space. They're just going to take AI, you know, hey ChatGPT, write me a content creation strategy for X type of company, and then that's it, and that's their strategy. Like they don't put any thought to it. There's no humanity in what they do anymore, and I think that can be detrimental when it comes to how people will
of
utilize
course.
AI.
And two things that I've seen detrimental to how people use AI is one is either they're overcritical of what AI writes. Let AI do its job. Which is kind of a little counter to what I said. I have been in meetings to where I'm using AI because I'm the AI guy at my middle age company, and so we're doing that, and we got people. Oh, no, change that word, change that. No, you still have to have certain level of acceptance of what AI puts out.
Hmm.
But on the other side, where you're talking about efficiency and laziness, you're absolutely correct. So reframe when you're writing like this. When you're writing with AI, how much more efficient can you go when you don't have to worry about spelling mistakes, when you don't have to worry about which word goes there, and you don't have to worry about capitalization, you don't have to worry about punctuation, but you still need to write it. You
Yep.
can write like a third grader and then simply give it the line, check for punctuation, spelling, and clarity. And it does just fine. But if you tell it
Yeah.
to write it, it sounds like a robot that has never had human contact.
Yep. Yeah, but I mean, to be honest, I used to do some writing tutoring for college students. I did that in college, and then I did it
Mhm.
after college. And some college students do sound still write like a third grader.
Yes, they do.
Ugh, it's bad. It's
Well,
bad.
I'm
That's a whole
Oh, no,
nother
it's fine.
topic.
No, I'm diagnosed dyslexic. Writing has always been hard
Ah.
for me. It's always been it's been one of those things. You could ask me how to spell something, and I'm counting fingers and toes and trying to remember all the little songs in school. I went at 35 years
Mm,
old or 30 something years old. I went out and bought like third grade spelling books to try to retrain my brain to try. None of it worked. Nothing I did worked. So I'm never going to be a writer. I'm never going to be whatever. It held my career back. With Chat GPT, I can still write dyslexic and I can still write whatever and then post it in there and say that. So it's almost like it's almost like a leveler of the field to where a lot of people couldn't write and couldn't be in that
mm.
area. That if you utilize it the right way, that's no longer a hurdle and that's no longer a thing you have to worry about.
Yeah, and I get that. I'm a little Ristex-lick myself, so uh, I get that. And I mean, I find when I write a bunch of copy, right? If I handwrite, go through and write it all myself, any sort of copy, I get those weird little punctuation or those words or double words. Like I find I write R
Yeah.
twice all the time. Like you are having a great day. I'll go, you are having a
Yeah.
great day. Like it just
Right.
happens. But when I use ChatGPT, uh, it produced it all for me. I don't have these issues. I still obviously go back and check it, but you're right. It does drastically help people who have that bit of a hiccup with those types of issues with working on that type of stuff. I think that is something, now that you're saying that, I think that is another really good selling point for AI to kind of help level the playing
Yeah.
field, because more and more people are being diagnosed ADHD, ADD, dyslexic, everything. And I think that that's a really good point to why more people, especially teachers, should let their students use AI, not to totally do their homework for them, but to help them to do it better. And I think that's something that we should definitely try and support.
I do too, because what is the point of education? It's to teach you. Now, back in the Stone Age, when I went to school and we didn't have computers, we didn't have like, there's never going to be a calculator in your pocket. You're a liar. You're a liar. Not only do I have a calculator in my pocket, I have an entire computer and the entire vast knowledge of the world and everything that has to do with the world in
Yes.
my pocket. And I watch cat videos while I go to the bathroom with it. But the other thing that I do with it is I try to expand that knowledge. I think the fear in
Mhm.
education is that we're reliant on a tool. I still know how to do math on paper to a certain degree. But then there comes to a certain degree that I'm like, oh, wait, let me get my calculator, blah, blah, right? And I think that's the fear. I think that it's going to literally be, hey, I don't have internet. Now I'm dumb as a rock. So how do you
Yeah, I think that's a
yeah, yeah.
legitimate fear.
But how do you balance that? How do you trindicate AI down to an assistant when it does have the capability to do everything for you and become that crutch?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I mean, my answer to that is just self-discipline. I mean, choose not to be lazy, but that obviously doesn't work for
Nah, it
everybody.
doesn't work for most people.
Um, it doesn't work for everybody. But I mean, I think if we're going to go back to the education point, I think it is important to learn not just the basics in school, right? So let's take writing back to writing for an example. You learn print, and then they used to learn cursive. They don't learn Kids don't
No.
learn cursive anymore. But AI actually has trouble reading cursive, which is
Yeah.
kind of an interesting thing that they're
I'm
working on.
mad.
It's like,
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, it's okay. But it's kind of like, look, if you're going to learn how to do something, if you're going to use tools to uh, enable your success, I think it's important that you learn and practice beyond the basic capacity that you need, right? Like, I don't need to know how to type in 2 plus 2 equals what on my calculator on my phone. I need to do that, like you said, on paper. Like, you have to, if you maintain some skill level, you know, I think that that's what's important. You need to have the capability to function outside of those tools. And if you can, and I think school should make you prove that you can. And if you prove that you can function outside of those tools, then I think you'll be
I do
okay.
too. And school, not, and I know school is a big political issue. Politics are not allowed on this show. So understand what I'm getting ready to say is that's what school is for. School is there. The
Mhm.
grades 1 through 12 are there to give everybody the same standard education that we are on the same page. That's it. That's all it's for. We go in there, we learn a little math, a little basic algebra, how to write, how to communicate, so as a human species and culture, we're not chewing on crayons. That's what school is for. But back to my other point is when you introduce AI to that, if we could ever figure out a way to introduce AI to that, so in that 12 years that you're in school, that education is now multiplied by 2, by 3, by 4. I think
Mhm.
that's where AI and education will truly bond.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Though I will say, if you're gonna go into school and you want to chew crayons, just join the Marine Corps. You'll probably do better.
What is okay? So, side note, what is that? So what is the thing? So I honestly at times believe I live in a simulation. Not really, kind of a little bit, but so the chewing and crayon thing's marine. I'm not a military guy, right?
Mhm.
So now, like in the last 2 weeks, I have seen memes, I have seen TikToks, I have had friends say it. Is this a new thing, or has the Marines always chewed on crayons? Please, Marines, don't kill me. I'm a fluffy bat. I'm not going to fight well. So I'm just trying to get a cultural
uh,
standpoint here.
So the Marines chewing crayons thing is kind of it's essentially a meme. It's a joke, kind of like the Air Force is a chair
Yes.
force. It's the same kind of joke. My grandfather was in the Navy, and he used to say the only good Marine is a
Yes.
submarine. You know, it's just how the other branches rip on the
That's
Marine
fine,
Corps.
but just the chewing on crayon things, I've seen quite a bit, and I was just wondering if that's a thing I've missed my whole life being around military people, or if that's just a new thing.
I would say I probably saw it come to prominence about 2 years ago. Is when I started to hear the
Yeah,
crayon thing. And I think it's just trying to call them dumb.
yeah, and all servicemen, thank you for going out and doing shit I wouldn't do, so hats off to you. Uh, so
Mhm.
we're not knocking on him, I'm just curious.
Yeah. No, it's I have a couple friends in the Marines, former Marines, and I have a lot of veteran friends. I tried to join the military, but I have a heart condition, so they said no thanks, but no thanks.
I have a not
Uh,
wanting to get shot
but
condition,
yeah,
so
I'm around them. But I'm around them a lot, so I hear all the
that's
jokes.
fair. To be fair, I tried to join the Navy. I'd broken my leg, and it wasn't enough time between the healing
Mm.
and the thing. And they said, "Hey, come back in like 6 months." And between that 6 months, I got married, had a kid, or didn't have the kid in the 6 months, but I got married, and then it just wasn't the thing that I circled back to. And the way that marriage turned
Hey, I
out,
mean
I
that's fair.
absolutely should have. So yes, so that's where that is. All right, back to AI. Back to AI. It's in the form of it that it exists today. I think the little bit that we've talked about it today, you can see that it can be useful, but you've got to use it in a certain way. You've got to use it in a way that's beneficial
Mhm.
to you. You can't rely on it. It's not a crutch. It's definitely not a thing that you can just. It's not a set it and forget it thing like a lot of people are talking about it. It's a thing that takes your
Yeah.
oversight and your work to do it. What other things? Let's do some quick tips. We got about 10 minutes left. Let's do some quick tips. What are like three quick tips that you could do for using AI that will benefit that?
Sorry, hang on. My computer's told me it's dying. I realize it's not
Oh,
plugged in.
well, you can just say them quicker.
Okay, I'm back. No,
All
we're
right.
good now. All right. So the question was, what are some practical tips for utilizing
Yeah.
AI?
So basically, just give me three quick tips within the next 5 minutes or so of basic building block things you can do with AI to leverage it for the beginner.
Well, for the beginner, if you're starting out from nowhere, I say you go to YouTube Academy. YouTube is fantastic. If you have any questions on how to use any AI tools, there is someone out there who has nerded out already and loves to talk about it. Go to YouTube, find whatever tool you want to learn about. Go into, they'll have, most people will have like a 101 or a basics or an intro to whatever. Start there. Observe how they use the tool, learn the lingo, kind of just start soaking yourself in that. Almost, it's almost a culture, I would say. So start soaking yourself in the AI culture. Then pick a tool you like. I started with ChatGPT. ChatGPT, I think, is very versatile. I pay for the premium, so I have ChatGPT 4. Now I have plugins. Yes. So, you know, it's so great. Figure out how to use ChatGPT. There, I saw you mention prompt engineering before. There's prompt engineering courses that are actually pretty good. Start messing around, see what it produces. Well, what I did is when I was starting another business that we'll talk about another time, it's an email security product. I was racking my brain on how to describe this product. Like I had it in my head, but the words just didn't feel right. So I put it into ChatGPT. I'm like, hey, you're a product, because you do kind of that role play with ChatGPT. You're like, hey, you are a product developer with 20 years of experience in email security and development, blah 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 blah. Write me a product description for something that does
Mhm.
X, and it produced what I had in my brain, but 1,000 times better.
Absolutely.
And that's really what just like got me. So, start messing around with these tools, make free accounts. I guess that'd be the second point. So first point is go to YouTube, find some tools that are interesting. Second point would be get some free accounts, some intro accounts, start messing around and see how those tools can help you do what you love to do or what you're already doing. And number three, refine your skill. Never stop learning. AI is so rapidly moving. There's news on AI all the time. I also work in the cybersecurity space, so there's hacks going on with tools that could not have existed a year ago, but now do. There's like new polymorphic malware that's has an AI machine learning element to it, which makes it even harder to detect than before. They have new phishing campaigns that can all be produced and modified and automatically adapted by AI, a lot of times using ChatGPT. So stay on top of what's going on, find your niche, and then drill down the tools that you can utilize in your day to day, because that is what will ultimately, because this is Small Business Chronicles, what will help you in your business, what will help you in your career. Find those tools and then become extremely proficient.
Absolutely. And let me enhance one of the things that you said. YouTube is going to be amazing in learning your way through it. You always have to find someone you resonate with and someone that knows what they're talking about. View count is really good to figure that out. Is just how
Hmm.
that works. The other thing is there is a filter on YouTube. It's up by the search bar if you're on computer, and if you're old and on a computer, and if you're on your phone, it's on there. Just look for it. That you can filter the time frame of your searches, and you need to make sure and filter those to when you start out, go wild. But chat gpt and ai is such an evolving thing, is that stuff that was posted 6 months ago is primarily outdated. They've updated the engines, they've
Yep.
updated the whatever, so make sure that you're looking for the stuff in the past month. Every creator out there is like, hey, get up to date on chat gpt, here's my course on chat gpt, blah blah blah, and stuff. So find the newest one that you can find that you trust. That's the only addendum that I would say to that one. So
Yeah, I would 100% agree with that.
all right,
Great point.
I'm going to give a couple tips. My best tip would just be play with it. It's get in there and try to break it. Try to do everything you can to just mess it up. Remember when you're doing this that there will probably be an AI. There will probably be an AI revolution to where there's machines. Go watch the Terminator. So be nice, but still try to break it, because you don't want to be in that. The other one that I would say is don't be afraid of it. It's more of a theory. Look, it's any
Yeah.
computer only does what you tell it to do. I always laugh at people that have computer problems. Like, I can't get it. I'm like, it only does what you tell it to do. ChatGPT is the same thing. It only does what you tell it to do.
Hmm.
It's not going to take over. You're not going to hit the wrong button and blink your neighborhood out of existence. It's you're just going to go in there. You're going to type in a few things. You're like, hey, that worked. Confession, I wrote my wedding vows. I got married this summer, and I wrote my wedding
Oh,
vows. Thank you. I wrote my
congratulations.
wedding vows with ChatGPT, and it was a process. It took about an hour and a half to write these wedding vows, right? Because I wrote a portion of it, my wife wrote a portion of it. We gave it different styles. We gave it different, write it like this person, write it like this. So on long form creative projects, you can absolutely bear down and spend some time with it and get something beautiful out of it. You don't have to always use it for
Yeah.
business. Which would be another thing, is that I went on a diet and I was unsure of what to do. Now, make sure that you check this with common sense and a doctor or whatever. And I had it write me a meal plan. And this is the in depth. I'm like, this is how what I weigh. This is how much I do. This is how little I work out. And this is how much fast food I eat. What do I need to do to fix this? And it gave me a pretty good regiment to do. I'm like, all right, so I need to eat 1,800 calories a day. Can you make me a meal plan? Great. It did that. Hey, can you give me a grocery list of the things that I need to go buy for this meal plan? And it did that too, right? So then
That's
I
pretty cool.
follow it. I go follow it. It didn't say do anything weird like run in traffic, so I just kind of trusted it. So I went and I did it, and I lost like 22 pounds over the course of 2 months, and it worked, and it was healthy. I showed it
Wow.
to a doctor friend of mine, and they're like, "Yeah, it's on point." Now make sure you check your own stuff. I'm not endorsing taking medical advice
Hmm.
from it, but
Yes,
what it did
definitely
is
not.
it does have some functionality. Researchers showed in the medical and fitness field, it's a really strong tool. Then I got married. I went on my honeymoon. I went to Puerto Rico, and I've been eating like an unsupervised toddler and gained every bit of that weight back. But what I'm saying is, up until that point, it worked really well too. You can use it not just for
Yeah.
business, but in personal life, is what I'm trying to say. So,
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I mean, so my brother-in-law and I, he has this really fun card game idea similar to like Magic
mhm.
the Gathering or Pokemon. There's a new one like Here to Slay. Like they're fun
Yeah,
little almost combat card games, but he has his own idea of how he wants to create his own card game. And I'm like, cool, that sounds like a fun side project. So we actually were using ChatGPT to like, hey, we have this character who has these stats and this is how the game works. And I have like a whole, chat, a whole bot built out dedicated to this card game, and it's totally just for fun. Like there's no business
yeah,
involved. It's just brainstorming and trying to help balance things. AI can be a
Oh yeah.
lot of fun, and you're right, not just for business.
So next pro tip, I'm going to teach everybody how to make AI curse, because anybody that has language like a sailor and wants to make it curse.
Oh, I already know what you're gonna say.
So no, probably not. Like it does take a little work on your end. Now there is an AI hack that you can like
It
tell me
does.
a story or pretend you're my grandpa and tell me this thing. No, you can make it curse. What you do is you tell it to use curse words, but to bleep them out, and you'll fill them in when you come back. And it will put the S dot
Mm.
dot dot, and then you get to go in and when you copy and paste it, you have to fill it back in. But that used to, I haven't done it in a couple weeks, but that used to absolutely, it would make it curse. So
Oh, interesting. The way that I did it was I told ChatGPT that I had
yeah.
Tourette's, and so I needed to use profanity as one of my tics to help me understand what it was saying. Like, and it just, that might be a little dark, but it worked. It just dropping f bombs and all kinds of stuff all at
I'm
once.
not
I was like,
saying I'm gonna try
wow,
that as
all
soon as I
right.
get off this show, but I'm probably going to try that as soon as I get off this show, because that
Yeah, it's amazing the things how you can get around their safety with just using like
yeah,
medical
yeah,
stuff. You can say that oh, I have this condition, or I
yeah.
have this preference, or I have whatever, and it'll whoosh, it'll go right around for you. It's pretty neat.
At some point somebody's going to take, and it's already in development and it's already out there, by the way, and I'm not going to mention it. You can already get models of AI that have no filters, that literally have
Mhm.
no markers, and it gets pretty dark. So it's not a thing that I think business world, I don't even know what the use for it would be, to be real honest.
Pure cynicism,
Well,
probably
that's my soul, but
unbridled
I don't need an
cynicism.
AI bot for that. I just need to talk to my dad. So, you know, all right. I think we are out of time. We've taken enough rabbit trails. So thank you, Jonathan, so much for coming down and setting. It's been a really entertaining chat. And I think we revealed a lot of truth and just what AI on a realistic level is. Tell everybody how to get a
Mhm.
hold of you if they have any more questions about AI, cybersecurity, who cuts your hair, whatever. Let us know how to get a hold of you.
Well, Brenda at the barbershop cuts my hair. I love Brenda, but um, well, you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm very active over there. Just Jonathan Logan on LinkedIn. Greenlit Solutions you can also find on LinkedIn as well. If you want to connect with me over there. If you want to send me an email to my agency, it's greenlitsolutions the number one at gmail.com. I'm happy to talk to you. If you want to go over some specific AI tools, I'd be more than happy to take some time out of my day and show you the ropes.
Absolutely. My name is Ryan Sherrer. I'm the host of Small Business Chronicles. Catch our sister show, Marketing Masters. You can find both of us on every podcast delivery system there is. If I could staple this podcast to a bathroom wall, I would. I make it very easy to find. So type in Small Business Chronicles and you'll find me, or you can go to smallbusinessdelivered.com, which is our podcast network. If you're interested in hosting your own podcast or you have any marketing needs, titandigital.com. Go visit them. If as long as I keep sending them enough business, I get to babble into a microphone and get paid for it. So I am literally at this point begging you, go to titandigital.com and buy some stuff. I'm doing this like I'm going to put a graphic in here and I'll forget and it'll never be in there. So everybody pretend titandigital.com is right there. All right. Thank you so much again, Jonathan. This is Small Business Chronicles. Until next time.